I mean, it sounds like they're pulling out all the stops here, trying to put the money out to get a second to get basically in a mini tournament in ways, and they'll get some their fights going after this one. Hopefully, you get Wilder against Joshua. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Wallin get his chance against AJ. Unless AJ can find his uppercut again, he's in for a very long night against Otto. So that should be a really, really good scrap. But Rob, I mean, they're pulling out all the stops for this. Not only that, did you hear they're getting American musical talent over there for this?
They need some Irish musical talent. Sorry to the listeners, by the way. I had the headphones in. It must have sounded dodgy.
No.
I didn't realize I said it so bad. But well, fuck the listeners. I'm not sorry.
No. No, you're fine. Like, seriously though, they're getting like Dr. Dre is going to come over for that. He's reworking one of his old songs. It's going to be really It's going to be really cool. It's going to go. What all the Arabs saying? Dre stop, and let me Riyadh. I'm really looking forward to that one. Yeah.
Oh, terrible. You gotta be fucking. You gotta fucking. First of all, you have to be fucking 45 to get that joke right.
Fuck you.
And it's just.
Hey,
it was terrible.
If people don't know The Chronic by heart, they can eat my ass, man. That's a fucking great album. They can go fuck themselves. But anyway,
it was a good attempt at a joke, but I like it. I like the effort. But no, I'm all for this shit. Listen, right? You can have your political stance on Saudi Arabia if you want. My view on politics is, if you're not going to do anything about it, like get up out of the seat and actually go do something for the cause that you believe in, then your opinion is worth as much as a fucking thought and prayer, right? So I don't have any fucking I don't know I don't know enough about politics to have opinions on things like this. So from a sporting point of view, we've been saying from boxing for years, right? Now this is only like a short stint into their venture into boxing. The good guy, fucking what's his name? Turkey, the Excellency, him. He's the guy that's fucking calling all the shots according to Frank Warren. But this is only a short time into their venture into it, and they're putting on loaded cards. And all we've done for the last fucking 5 years is complain that this fella won't fight that guy because he's with that promoter, and this fella won't fight that guy because he's with that network. And Turkey, Excellency is like, hey, listen, all you networks, you want to work together because here's a big bag of money, and they're all like, yes. So, I mean, that looks good for the future, though. Like, boxing has been dead on its arse. Like, those cards, I'm not fucking overwhelmed with AJ. By the way, I fancy Wallin big time in that fight. Big time in that fight. He's taking Ben Davison as his head trainer on 6 weeks' notice to fight Otto Wallin, the Southpaw.
Davison will pull him out in the 9th round.
To fight Otto Wallin, the Southpaw, who's only ever lost to Tyson Fury. I do not like AJ's chances in that fight. But anyway, regardless of all that, they're making shit happen. Like, they're putting on cards. These cards, as Frank Warren said, they're going to be able to watch them at reasonable times. They're not on 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. for our time or whatever.
And Eddie got told what to do. Eddie got his marching orders. You go and get the fucking fights made, you little hairpiece.
Yeah, Eddie's up there shaking hands with Frank Warren like a defeated man on the stage. What's not to like about it? Like, let's fucking have more of it. Listen, if they go down the weights or whatever and they start calling the shots in the lightweight division or the welterweight division or any of these stagnant divisions where people are holding up the fucking script. If
Deontay Davis can't leave the country.
Well, apart from Deontay Davis, right? Let him fight by a satellite link in the metaverse. But you get what I'm saying? Like, they look like they're able to. They have obviously money talks. The networks don't work together. The promoters don't work together unless there's a huge pot of money. And these fellas can make fights that happen that wouldn't happen under normal circumstances because everyone will lose their arse. Right, including the fucking networks, apart from the fighters who'll be getting paid. So these fellas are paying the fighters. They don't give a shit about making losses. It looks like it's going to be good. I can't, from a fight point of view, just watching the fights, it looks like it's going to be good. I don't know.
You know, Gabriel Iglesias had a bit years ago, and he was talking about like going and doing some private performance in Saudi Arabia for, a few hundred sheiks or whatever the shit, and like out in the middle of the desert and stuff. And you kind of wonder, have some of these fights that we've always wanted to see actually happened behind closed doors in the middle of the desert in the fucking Middle East, and nobody just ever talked about them because it just some fucking sheik put up $50 million?
Man, shut up to that weed talk. We don't. For fuck's sake.
No way, that's like a hole in time. That's a great idea, Matty, man. I never thought about that before. You think that the way they like book like Robbie Williams and shit for £1 million to like perform at their daughter's wedding and whatever, they're actually paying AJ to fight Fury in like
It's already happened.
someone's
Steve.
party.
Already happened. That's
This is a fucking great idea.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm onto something.
I came at Matty's getting you. Matty's getting at the boxing equivalent of the wrestling fucking dart shows, where it's no on TV. Nobody can see it happens unless somebody in the crowd films it and sticks it on social media.
Just
They alluded to this on The Simpsons when they mentioned going to international waters for the Tyson Secretariat fight.
We'll go back to Russia for a minute here.
Hey, yo.
No sexual slavery here, by the way, but I can remember somebody chatting on the podcast. I'm going back years here. That Alexander Povetkin apparently fought in unlicensed shows for the Russian mafia.
Yeah, I can see that shit happen. They're those oligarchs.
Yeah, you know what I'm
have
saying?
A ton of money.
Well, at that time, there were a lot of Russian money kicking around about that time.
Yeah, have you read the Panama Papers?
And you had
Bohemian Grove 2019. Alex Jones climbing over the fence to watch it.
Like he's trying to get in a Bohemian Grove.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love it. That's a great idea, man. I never thought about anything like that. Ames, I'm not going to drop that one on you. Des made a comment.
Rob, this is where you choose hop off of the conspiratorial train where it actually makes sense. No, the aliens had to build the fucking pyramid.
I don't know if I want to say too much. The cops just fucking pulled up past me there. Saying nothing. Johnny Pickens over here.
You're the one the Interpol's after. You're the one the Interpol is after. They're not after me. I have no fucking problems. You take it up with them. You choose to hang out with this motley crew.
What time's the show for you out there, Matty?
What time is it starting for you guys?
Main event, I roughly would say about 10:30. I would say your time. 10:30, 11 o'clock.
10:30. So that would be, what time is it right now over there?
That's
10 o'clock. It's about 5 for you, isn't it?
It's 10 o'clock. Yeah. So this is it's 3 o'clock right now.
Oh.
So yeah, be about 3:30. Yeah. So that would be like the normal UK cards when they're like, let people catch a train after the main event kind of timing for me, which would be really, really nice. On Christmas Eve, correct? I mean, what a fucking present.
Yeah,
you got to wonder, it'll be if they start making a habit of this as a present to all of us Christians. This could be the way they truly do the building blocks.
Post-fight pod. Yeah. Then in UA on Boxing Day, another post-fight pod.
It's fantastic.
Divorce for me, the 27th.
It's fantastic.
To the holiest in the past.
I personally consider this a peace offering from the Muslim world to the Christian world, and I appreciate it. You're all square with me, guys. A-OK, USA.
Right, I'm going to have to drag him back in quickly. Aim, save me here. Des says it's a good card. Not the Sandcastle boxing tournaments that Matty's talking about behind closed doors, although I'm a believer. It's a good card and I'm looking forward to it, but the general opinion is it's all the right fighters aimed, but the wrong fights.
You can. I get that point of view. It is, but I think they're building up to something, or at least getting those fights. I mean, we are getting those fights. We're getting Fury Usyk. Hopefully, touch wood, we'll be getting that fight next year. I believe the whispers are, I don't know with any real certainty, but Joshua has signed like a 3-fight deal over there. So it's 3 fights they're building towards. This is the first one. If you can get through Wallin, then you imagine it be Wilder in the Wilder rematch, or imagine it be Wilder. And then if he wins, the winner of Fury Usyk or whatever it is after the fact. But that's kind of the plan here, to have more of these events going forward. And I've seen some of the criticism of people saying that like there's no real fights of any consequence, but I disagree with that. Like, take for example the Joshua fight. If Joshua loses to Wallin, which a lot of people are saying is a real possibility, then where does he go from here? That rebuild is even further from him getting back to the top there. Joseph Parker versus Wilder. Look, Wilder comes in a heavy favorite, but I don't think Joseph Parker's any real isn't out of a shout of the fight. Dubois versus Miller, a very interesting fight as well too. Take for a side for a moment where Miller stands with him getting back and whether he should be in the ring or not. But questions about Dubois and his heart and Miller's output in the ring. Can Miller do something to break Daniel down, or will Daniel walk Miller onto something in that fight? Bivol versus Arthur isn't really a great matchup, and that's just the same with what's going on. There's only real one fight at that weight that we want to see that Bivol is in, and it's not happening there. Same sort of thing with Oppenheimer and Zorro too.
Do you think the fighters keep doing like chasing like a compare and contrast between Bivol and Beterbiev in some ways?
What do you mean?
That's what we all think, Games.
Didn't better be a fight. Didn't better be a fight, Arthur.
No, that's Yard.
Who am I? Oh, never mind. My apologies. Fuck me.
He's had one good idea tonight, Holmes. He's spent now.
It's that Herb.
And then Makhmudov versus Kabial as well. Like Kabial has been floating around European for years, absolute years. So hopefully that frees up the European heavyweight title with whatever.
Apparently, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Kabial is a big businessman or something. He's got plenty of money.
A millionaire, apparently.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
That's what I heard. He's a millionaire. He doesn't really need boxing or whatever.
Exactly.
But I'll tell you what, though.
I don't know.
See if he's like.
Wasn't that like Shumanov was too, where he fucking just kind of shows
up? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, David Shumanov. Yeah.
See,
got one.
I've not seen Kabayel for long enough, right? I can remember him being a bit of a mover, a bit of a counter puncher. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know, man. Makhmudov is like stiff, upright. He's a banger, mind you, but I don't know how he would do with a mover. So it'd be interesting, that one. Demore, man, where did they fucking dick him up for? That's him that fought Hay, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. He's had a few wins since though, Ames, apparently.
Who against?
But this is the thing, like that will free up the European title for someone else, like a Wardley, maybe to go up to that level, free up the British title, and so on and so forth down that ladder of command there. So I think there's some good fights in the offing. People talking about the press conference. I just wanted to say the point of, oh, by the way, like if Kabial is a millionaire, look, these fighters are getting paid fair whack for going over to Saudi and having these fights. I heard a lot of figures being bandied around for this. So I think the lure of the money for Kabial was definitely one, and smart for the other fighters, smart investments indeed. But that moment of seeing Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren is being kind of seen as this great moment here, and but for me, it kind of felt like the signification of an end game as opposed to the start of a beginning of something. And I think that's kind of how I took that moment. I don't know how you guys thought of it, but it just seemed like this is maybe something that's
the way Eddie said it. The way Eddie said it, mate, was like he just been involved literally like in the last 10 to 14 days, and he was told to get his arse in gear to get whoever it was, Joshua, involved. So it was all kind of put together quite quick, and he just got his orders. So Eddie's, you know what Eddie's doing it for the end of the day, mate. Everybody's doing the same thing, I would imagine. But you say the money's there, whatever it is. But
do you think you'll get to go out to this one, Ames? Sorry, Andy. Do you think you'll get to go out to this one, Ames?
I don't know.
Be good, wouldn't it?
Up in the air. I'm not really a big fan of flying, so I suppose the next long haul flight I'd like to go on to is probably for Undisputed. If I do end up going, I did Usyk Joshua 2 in Jeddah, which is a really good event. I did really enjoy that, so I enjoyed my time there. But I wouldn't be too disappointed to miss out on this one.
Yeah, Andy, just closing out.
You make it over there. We have friends over there now. So you could always you got people to hang out with now.
Mm-hmm.
Boxing Asylum accredited for the show. Is that what you're saying?
Right, mate.
Yeah, we got people all over the country. You want to go to South America and get some blow? We got people there too. We're international.
See if we can get a Boxing Asylum accreditation for the fucking Jeddah show. We be there at the Riyadh show. We be there at the Heartbeat, man.
Yeah.
Ricky Gravel.
Rob won't end up locked up.
Ricky will get Pablo.
You'd have to give up the smoke like Snoop.
Shake games.
Shake games.
I see Conor McGregor was in the eulogy for fucking Snoop giving up the smoke. I was like, what the fuck's he on, dude, man? Helmet.
I had a point for you, Andy. I can't remember what it was now.
Yes.
So feel free to finish off with. I think it's to do with Makhmudov. He punches that hard. I don't think Kabiel will be running for too long.
No, that's true enough, mate. It just takes one shot, I suppose. What I was going to ask you guys now, what is your general predictions with the Wallin against Joshua fight? And there is interesting, right? Steve, I know you watched the Gaza fight.
I did.
There is holes there, but you can pick in Wallin. You're saying to yourself, Joshua just cuts loose, man. You know what I'm saying? I just know he's active enough. He does a lot off the back foot. If Joshua just steps in, if he just finds that confidence in himself to just trust his chin and trust his power and just go for it, I think he would take Wallin out of there.
Yeah, I think Wallin's a good fighter. He gets a lot of credit from the Fury fight for performing above his means, but even though he beat Gassiev, I would fancy Joshua, to be honest. I think points is the safe pick.
I don't know. Look, listen, AJ's going with Ben Davison on 6 weeks' notice, right? Wallin said this himself. What's he going to do different with him in 6 weeks? He's
Come on,
looked
mate.
Fuck
It's the blueprint. It's all about the championship mentality.
yeah, exits and
Instill
fucking
him, man.
exit
I
strategies
mean,
or whatever.
still a championship mentality. It's been missing on him, mate. That's what's going to happen.
But seriously, like 6 weeks with Ben Davidson for a fight against Otto Wallin, who's a big unit and a southpaw, and fucking can take a shot apparently, and have Fury fucking worried. Now, granted, Ben Davidson was in the corner that night. Fury looked like shit against Wallin, and that might speak more for the instructions he was getting rather than the fighter that he is. Maybe a fucking the Sugar Hill version of Fury just fucking stands on Wallin and bangs him out of there. But AJ's looked petrified the last 2 times he's been in the ring. And when he had Usyk hurt, he couldn't pull the trigger on him. It took him fucking 7 or 8 rounds with Hellenius, who took the fight on 2 weeks' notice and still hung in there for 7 rounds. I think I've said this since the beginning of time on the pod, like I've been on there fucking 6 years, and I've always said, like, if you get AJ past 6 rounds, you have a chance, like, because he doesn't trust his gas tank. He's not as engaging as he was for whatever reason, and I think Wallin can make him look bad. And when you start to make Joshua look bad and fight on the back foot, he just crumbles, like. So I'm not saying he's going to fucking, blow it and fucking against Wallin, but I don't think he's going to look good against Wallin. If Wallin can get him past 6 with the southpaw and start lying on him, backing him up to the ropes and that, I think it's going to be a long night for Joshua. Like, unless Ben Davison is actually worth something and he goes in and just fucking gets him to let his hands go, as Andy said. But I just don't see it. I don't see, no matter who the fucking coach is, this guy's going off fucking sitting in dark rooms and all. It's kind of tragic what's happening with AJ. Like, I just don't think he's fucking fully engaged in the sport, and I think this is all wrong for him. Like,
well, and you got 4 fights with 3 different trainers. It's
But he's with Ben Davison now, mate. Yeah, indeed, the analytical mind that man brings to the game, man.
Well,
unrivaled work. Unrivaled.
See, I think that if Wallin tries to box like he did with Gassiev, I don't think he gets done right on the cards. And I'm kind of curious if this is 10 or a 12 round fight.
It'll be 12. It's got to be 12. Surely hasn't.
Box rate says it's a 12 rounder.
Okay.
Got to be a 12 Joshua's level. Sorry, Matty.
And I would, but if Wallin chooses to get in there and get on AJ's chest, I think he's going to give him a really hard time. And again, I'll go back to something that I swear by. These fights are a lot different, especially if a guy is going to be leaning in on AJ, if he can rediscover his uppercut. If he can rediscover that punch and Wallin goes in there trying to get on his chest, he could get fucking hurt pretty bad. I really think
agree.
so. I mean, AJ has when he had that uppercut he landed on Klitschko in the 11th round. Fuck me, man.
You're going back fucking 6 years to look for that uppercut, though.
But it's a great shot, and he made Klitschko's neck look like a jacket.
Pulev, he landed it on Pulev quite well, didn't he?
I think so.
Pulev's 150 years old, honestly.
I'm the same as you. I'm no Joshua lover, but I don't know, man. Wallin's going to turn
Wallin is a live dog in this. Like,
yeah.
I
agree.
I think I'm with Dr. FMG says it's a 50-50 fight, fighting a 6'6" southpaw who has never been knocked down and can fight going backwards. He makes good points. I think it is kind of a 50-50 fight, where I think that there's going to be a lean towards Joshua because how much money is on the line. So I'm calling it probably a 60-40 fight in Joshua's favor. And I think so much depends on the style that Wallin chooses to fight at and if AJ can rediscover his uppercut. I don't think Wallin would get done right on the cards if he tries to box him like he did with Gassiev. And I think that if he is able to bully him on his chest, that's his best way to win. But if AJ finds that uppercut again, he could put Wallin's lights out. These are big dudes.
I think, Andy, the fact it's away from home will benefit Joshua because he panics a bit at home, doesn't he? Wasn't Hellenius was at home, and the fights before he feels the tension, the pressure. First Usyk fight was at home. The second one he fought a lot better was away from home. I think that if there's that less of that home distraction and a roaring crowd, I think it'll suit AJ.
I don't know, mate. After that second fight against Usyk, mate, that was a mega meltdown ahead. So I don't know. I don't think it matters where it happens. The guy's just off a reservation just now. So
yeah, that's true. Matty, just one final fight on that card. Daniel Dubois fighting in against Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Me and you were having a bit of light-hearted sparring back and forward over this in the Boxing Nutters chat. I was irked by the fact that big fat mess Miller has failed multiple times, and yet there seems to be no consequences for his actions. And you were sort
Other
of
than being out of the
boasting-
ring for 3 years.
I know, but the fact that he's even getting a payday now shows that nobody really cares and they're happy to pay him. I don't want to see him get paid. I want to see him get knocked out and end up destitute.
I get it, but I mean, a lot of people who have been on the fucking gear have ended up getting paydays again. So I'm not going to treat him any differently. I think he did his time. And I think there's a fair chance that those drugs were the only thing keeping him under 300 pounds. And that was only by, by a hair. This is an interesting fight. Dubois is very athletic, but I think he is a man currently lacking confidence. If he can fight athletically, confidently, put his punches together against a Miller who could be, 320 plus pounds, I think that he could potentially just kind of wear the guy down and take him out.
Do you think Dubois is athletic?
I do think he's athletic.
Okay,
I
good.
absolutely do think he's athletic. I think that he gets by far more on his athleticism than his boxing ability.
Mhm.
But I think that if he is not able to do that and he lets the big man just walk him down slowly but surely, then
Don't bet on
Miller,
it, Matty. Whatever you do, don't bet on it.
I don't. We'll see what the numbers are. It's all about value, buddy. But I mean, the big man could walk him down and take him out, and it's really interesting. And if Miller can prove that he can fight at a world level as a 300 plus pound guy, more power to him. You know what? I am not against. I'm not against him and Vicoli going into 600 pounds of furious fucking thunder and getting it on next year either. I think that's a great fight.
Well, my opinion on it is he served his ban, so he's back active. It is what it is. Canelo fucking popped, and he's the face of boxing. So
Fucking
until that shit is fucking eradicated, we're gonna have to live with it. But the biggest pity for Jarrell Miller is Jarrell Miller, because he had the bag, he had it made, he had the fight made against AJ. All he had to do was forget about popping. All he had to do was he could have took the steroids, but just got away with it. Like, that's all he had to do. Because even if AJ had knocked him out, I think he would have given himself a good account that night. The way Ruiz beat him, I think he would have put it on him. I think he was in his head. I think the way the build up, there was obviously something wrong with Joshua in the build up. He'd been knocked out in sparring or whatever. So Miller had the world at his feet. He could have been the undisputed champion or give himself a chance against the undisputed champion. And because he popped, this fucker has been on the sidelines for 3 years, and he's now 300 pounds plus. Now, the big pity is, again, he's a personality. He can hear him in the press conference the other day. He's going straight at AJ, like that New York shit. Like, he's talking all that. Like, the heavyweight division kind of needs guys like him, but not like him. You get me? Like, they need guys with the talent that can talk.
He's got an engine for a big fat mess. Like, to be fair,
he's like a Shannon Briggs light, like, isn't he?
Yeah,
like,
that's a good comparison.
So he's like, he would have definitely been in entertaining, selling fights, like, if he had just fucking got his shit together and learned how to fucking pass the doping tests. So I think Dubois walking through him. I think he's fucking walking through him. 3 years out of the ring, he's 300 pounds, and Dubois just been in mixing it with Usyk and nearly got him out of there. Like, I think he fucking.
I'm not so sure, That's interesting. Not so
this
sure.
is his
I think Miller's too easy to hit. Miller's too easy to hit.
And Dubois can punch. Yeah.
But he is easy to hit. But this is his fourth fight back, Rob. It's not like he's just fresh
but
off
who's he fought? Like,
Lucas Brown, Rob, man, come on.
But you need to remember as well.
I could finish the fight with Lucas Brown now. I think.
You need to remember though, he's 300 pounds.
But it suits him though, doesn't it, man?
It does, but I say he's still 300 pounds. That is a lot of man to pound.
He's going to be juiced to fuck, man. Who's the
the thing is, what happens if Dubois does start pinging him, bouncing on him, and he does nothing? What happens if it then he starts to tire, and then Miller starts wrestling with him? Gets
Dubois is a mental problem as much as anything.
He's a low confidence guy, and if he if he lands
as soon as the heat is on
Sunday best and doesn't move him, that would be basically the end of the fight at that point in time, because it would suck his confidence down to nothing.
Seriously, I mean, the resistance just doesn't seem to be there. You know what I'm saying? If he can just make it a bit of a dogfight, Miller, if he has got the tank for it. I mean, I've not seen anything of him since he's come back, to be fair.
I saw the Brown fight. He looked terrible.
Did he?
Yeah, but he's not really a puncher, is he? Considering his size, he does.
No, but was he still like punching? Was he outputting and stuff like that?
Can't even remember now, to be honest.
No,
that was in Dubai, wasn't it? That was his last fight in Dubai.
He was still punching in combination and shit. He didn't look great. You're 100% right. But a fighter like Miller, like, they're never going to look great. Their role is playing the big man, and it does have its limitations. But is Daniel Dubois its limitation? I don't know.
Well, just finally, Matty, before we close out this little segment, you were going on about the drugs testing, but I have to say that I'm actually right here because I have quite a high-profile character on my side when it comes to drugs testing. So you're on the wrong side of history here, as this clip is going to show you right now.
I don't need to save money. I want to put on good fights. So that was a good fight for the zone. So I'm disappointed. But what is the point in signing up for drug testing if when you fail, everyone just goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just let him fight." You know?
Yeah.
So and
Well, there you go.
From the horse's mouth, Batty, what more can you say to that?
I have nothing more to say to that as we
I'm
approach.
starting to think he might be a hypocrite.
Just a wee bit. It's a wee tidge smidge.
Might have
Oh,
to
dear.
come back for Bellew of the Week tomorrow, Steve.
Yeah, I think so. Right, it's my fault.
We'll see if Miller gets over the line with it all and gets into the ring, because I wouldn't imagine there's any reluctance to have a standby opponent for any of these fights, but specifically that fight too. Chisora is always someone who's wanted to be on these Saudi cards and been calling to be on these cards. I don't know if that would be that specific fight that he might step in for, because on the other side of the equation is Don Charles. I don't know how much he'd want to be involved in a Dubois Chisora fight if that is the case. But Miller's got to get over the line, hasn't he, in these higher stakes, with his past.
You just don't know if with some of his previous usage, it might just still pop up in the system so many years later.
That's what I was asking. Who's the commission? Who's sanctioning this, Ames? Do we have what's the testing situation?
Frank says that all fighters on this card are being VAR tested.
Mate, the end of the day, the ultimate arbitrator is Salman bin, what do you call him? Abdulaziz Al Saad. That is the man who confirms this is going ahead. Anybody else wants to take the piss, we'll see that man doing it at the fucking gulag tomorrow.